foremost concern is that it's happened to us, and it's my responsibility to act. Our team continues to work around the clock to restore all city functions to be as transparent as possible amid an active criminal investigation and work to protect our residents. I'll be the first to admit I am not an IT expert. I'm a mayor. And my number one job is to make sure we do everything in our power to protect the hard-working families of Columbus who have been the victims of this attack. We have a team of IT and cybersecurity experts who have been working since this attack first happened to restore functions to our city's IT infrastructure to help protect us against future intrusions and attacks and to gain an understanding of the full extent of this incident. This is a very complex and rapidly changing situation. While this is an ongoing investigation, we are going to continue to be as transparent and forthcoming with as much verifiable information as possible. Earlier this week, I shared an update from our team about who was impacted by the cyber attack. That information was conveyed in good faith and based on what our team knew to be accurate at that time. New information came to light, and we can now confirm that personally identifiable information was released to the dark web. I know this is frustrating to everyone, myself included, but this is a very dynamic and rapidly changing threat from a highly sophisticated criminal network. One of the data sources we now know was exposed is the prosecutor's database. This includes information of individuals involved with the justice system, including defendants, victims, and witnesses. I want to acknowledge how concerned I am. I want to reassure the residents of Columbus that we're taking this very seriously. That's why we're continuing to work with the FBI, our cybersecurity experts, and the city attorney. At this point, I can unfortunately say that we will find that more personal information has been accessed or published by these criminals. I understand how frustrating this is for those who have been affected or who are wondering if they were. As we continue to learn more, we're going to be forthcoming with as much verifiable information as possible amid an active investigation. This is why we have provided notification and offered Experian protection to everyone who may have been impacted. I urge the people of Columbus, our employees, our residents, non-residents, to take full advantage of it. As we announced yesterday, all Columbus residents and non-residents whose personal information was shared with the city or the municipal court are now able to sign up for 2 years of the Experian monitoring, which includes $1 million of protection against fraud and identity theft. To sign up, please go to columbus.gov/cyber by November 29th. Service begins upon enrollment. As I said yesterday, and I've said already here today, my number one job is to do everything I can to protect the residents of Columbus. We will continue to be in touch with the FBI, city attorney, and the cybersecurity experts who are working around the clock to get to the bottom of this. And I'll continue to do everything I can to protect the residents of Columbus. Now I'd like to have City Attorney Zach Klein share some comments, and then we'll take questions.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And I want to build upon kind of some of the information that the Mayor has shared. First, This has certainly been one of the most challenging and complex situations that I've dealt with, being the Columbus City Attorney. It's a ever-moving and evolving investigation, and I want to acknowledge and recognize those who have been with us in helping us as we deal with the city being a victim of a cybercrime. The federal law enforcement team that has been with us every step of the way, certainly Director Orth and his team, our breach counsel, cybersecurity experts, the Ohio Cyber Reserve. It is a Herculean task where the city has assembled a tremendous amount of resources and expertise to help us navigate this very complex situation. And I want to share in the mayor's anger and frustration that these criminals are taking advantage of the people we serve. It's fine for them to sit in Eastern Europe or wherever they sit and pull data, but every field of that data is a person or a loved one in our community. And it's particularly troubling, specifically as it relates to the city attorney's office, that those that we protect and serve, that I take very seriously as the city attorney, are witnesses and are victims, that not just their information that can be hopefully bolstered and protected by Experian, but what could be sensitive addresses, home addresses. Now I recognize that some of this information is public and you can go on the municipal court's website and find addresses of individuals. But I think we also have to acknowledge that within that list, there's probably people that are out there that are maybe trying to escape an abuser, that are trying to escape a situation that could be violent for them. And while you may need a certain level of expertise to access information on the dark web, it's not something you can easily Google. The fact of the matter is that criminals out there may have access to it with their own sophistication. And that's why I've already reached out to Legal Aid, their executive director, Kate McGarvey, to let her know about this and let her know that my office stands ready to work with her and her team, especially if there's someone out there that feels like they need to now file a protection order, a civil protection order. So we have resources like Legal Aid, Columbus Legal Aid, that's out there. And I would encourage those that if you feel at any moment that you need a civil protection order, to reach out to Legal Aid. If you feel that you need to escape an abuser, Choices, Lutheran Social Services Choices is available. If you're currently in a situation that is imminently dangerous, call police. Those resources exist all the time, regardless of this cyber attack. But I think we need to double down on that information, that it's available to you now. I take our work protecting victims very, very seriously. They're the most important people that we protect. And I will never waver from that as the city attorney. And my team will do everything we can within our power to make sure that you feel protected and that you are protected as a victim of crime coming down to the municipal court. So at this point, I think we're going to turn it to questions.
Any questions from the press?
Is there any evidence that the CRISP system or the city electric and water utility payment systems were accessed or reached at this point?
I don't know for sure, but what today is about in us expanding the Experian credit monitoring service is that based on what we know at this point, we believe other information is out on the dark web or could potentially be put out on the dark web, including, information like that. But we cannot necessarily confirm that at this point.
What about income tax returns, those types of things? And also, do you know how many individuals outside city employment, just regular folks, may have been exposed?
We don't know any of that specific information yet. But again, today is putting forth, and why we're expanding the credit monitoring service is we believe that it is safe to assume that other information, personal identifiable information, will be out there.
Will you be reaching out personally to people who have been impacted, whose personal information is now on the dark web?
You're talking about me as the mayor, as the city? I'm not sure.
How is the city going to be contacting these folks who are now scrambling to learn if their information is on the dark web?
Please.
So, Steve, the city is by going to the website, publishing the notice that you could be subject to this sort of exposure. So we would encourage anyone that has interacted with the city of Columbus, whether including the municipal court, to go to the website that the mayor mentioned to sign up for Experian. The reality is, as this is a complex and evolving situation, that I understand that you want immediate answers of who exactly are in those fields, but that does take time to process. If that if the city was going to be able to have access to review everything. So operating on the assumption that if you touched the city in some way, former employees, current employees, municipal court, take advantage of this and go to the website and sign up for your Experian coverage.
And how many years back are we talking?
No, I think it's safe to say that if you feel like you have interacted with the city of Columbus in any way, I don't want to put a time frame on it because, again, this is an ever-evolving criminal investigation, that you should feel free to visit the website and sign up for Experian.
Cooper Elliott and Meyer Wilson have expanded their class action lawsuit to cover everyone affected by this. Does signing up for that Experian product prevent them from joining that lawsuit?
You know, that's a question for Cooper and Elliott.
What is the status of the forensics and how long do you anticipate it to take to get a completed report?
Say that again.
What is the status of the forensics and how long do you anticipate it taking to get a completed report?
Completed investigation. Based on the experience of the team that we're working with, that could be several more months. You know, our big focus right now is restoring systems and getting the city operating as effectively and efficiently as we expect and as taxpayers expect, protecting our residents and those that have been impacted by this crime, and certainly that investigation. We want it to be exhaustive, and we will look at everything. As we've talked before, I'm committed to continuous improvement. If there are things that we need to change and do differently, we're going to do that. We've invested $12 million over the last 5 years into cybersecurity. Clearly, we need to do more. And I think based on this investigation, those are going to be top priorities for me and the city as we move forward. Because based on what we've shared today and what you already know, this is happening just in the last 2 years. 145 cities have been attacked. The amount of data breaches and information, personal identifiable information that is out there at times is overwhelming, I think, to the people here and people around the country. And cybersecurity has to become not only a top city priority. I'm going to use my bully pulpit as president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors to ask for a national strategy to support cities and others to make sure we're protecting the people of this city and cities across the country, because clearly there has been a dramatic increase in attacks on cities, and we need to do something to fight back.
Mr. Mayor, can you say who's been advising you in some of the statements that you made that turned out not to be correct?
You know, there's a team of folks that have been working with us since the beginning, and you know, ultimately, I'm the mayor. The buck stops with me, and I take responsibility for information that I've shared with the public. My job is to acknowledge when that information was inaccurate. It was the best information we had at the time. Clearly, we discovered that that was inaccurate information, and I have to accept responsibility for that. And more importantly, own our process moving forward, to be focused on the victims, our employees, the residents of Columbus, those who have interacted with the city of Columbus, and make sure that we're sharing as much verifiable information as possible. And when we determine that information is inaccurate, we need to own that and be responsible for that.
Have you been getting written reports, and would you be willing to share those reports to show where the missteps were made?
I have not, and obviously this is all going to be part of the larger investigation that will take several more months to figure out what else we need to change and reform moving forward.
So what do you say to the citizens of this city who are now fearful and scrambling to learn if their information is out there? We've talked with a lot, and they're scared.
I encourage them to go to columbus.gov/cyber, sign up. We need folks to step up and take on some personal cybersecurity efforts as well. So, you know, some simple things about changing passwords and other types of things. But I really encourage people to go to columbus.gov/cyber, sign up for this credit monitoring service, and certainly as we have more information that we can share, we're going to be doing that with the public.
On Tuesday, you said...
Columbus,
Oh, sorry.
the chief executive of the city, who
I accept full responsibility for sharing the best information that I had at the time that was confirmed and corroborated. We learned that information was inaccurate. And why we are here today and why we've taken these proactive measures around expanding, credit monitoring services is to demonstrate our commitment to protecting the people of Columbus. I don't have an exact amount because we haven't figured out how many folks have signed up or will sign up for it, but I think certainly we're talking millions of dollars.
So what was that conversation like after you told me that everything is encrypted, things are corrupted, and it was unusable, and then you found out that's not the case? Share with us that conversation you had with those
I
investigators.
was furious. I was frustrated. I was angry. Not about my situation, but the people of Columbus have been victimized. Our employees, our residents, folks who've interacted with the city. That's unacceptable. And we're going to do everything in our power to hold people accountable and protect the people.
Mr. Mayor, you had said yesterday in the television interview that you weren't prepared to extend the service just to residents, and later in the day you did. Did something happen yesterday that changed your mind?
I think ultimately we decided, based on the information, as I said, this is ever evolving and changing, and based on the information that we have now, we think the smartest, most proactive way to protect the people of Columbus is to expand this credit monitoring service to everyone that has interacted with the city, folks that live in the city, obviously expanding beyond our city employees. We think this is the most proactive, thoughtful, best way to protect the people of Columbus. Shoot, I think Director Orth requested it July 31st. And I communicated with Lieutenant Governor Houston about it as well. I think it was about that same time.
City Attorney Klein, if your information appears in this, do you have to recuse yourself?
What do you mean?
In the leak, if your information is in this leak, do you have to recuse yourself from
Recused myself from the litigation?
Yes.
Okay. So we have been in contact with the Ohio Board of Professional Responsibility, the governing board of lawyers, because this is a unique situation. The purported class that's being alleged are all city employees. I'm a city employee. And so there are steps that we're taking under their guidance to make sure we do it the right way. We will be hiring outside counsel to further ensure independence, and we're going to make sure we put up whatever walls are necessary to protect the ethical concerns. So we've already been in contact with them to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Has the city paid any ransom or anything to the group that's responsible?
We have not.
Do we have an idea of exactly who, in terms of the almost 1 million people who live in this city, who is affected? Your water customers, your parking customers?
We don't know any of that yet. And certainly as we discover that information, we'll share that. But that's why we think this very proactive and thoughtful approach to expanding credit monitoring service is one of the most important things we can do right now. But as we learn more, obviously we'll share more and potentially do more to protect the people of Columbus.
Did these investigators tell you how they did not find these files open when they were working on this for at least a week?
It's part of the ongoing investigation.
But have they told you?
It is part of the ongoing investigation, and as we learn more, we will correct it.
Is there a reason you waited 4 days to even announce that there had been a cyber breach?
I think, we wanted to make sure that the information that we were able to confirm and corroborate that had been shared last Tuesday. If we go back, we had the information I shared on Tuesday confirmed on that Friday before, corroborated over the weekend, shared it on Tuesday, learned later that day that information was inaccurate. So we, put out several statements, shared information, expanded the credit monitoring service, and we're here today to answer questions and to share where we are and where we're headed.
Do you know when city services will be completely up and running, and what's the status?
As quickly as possible. As you know, we've been working around the clock. We've had a number of systems already restored, and we're going to continue working around the clock. We're going to do it as quickly as we can, but we also need to make sure we do it as securely as we can. because we don't want to have any additional risk and exposure by restoring systems too quickly.
Can you say ultimately how many systems were totally affected in this attack? How many different city systems were?
Can't at this point. I'm sorry? I don't know if we have yet. That's part of the ongoing investigation, and probably not know that for some time.
All right, thank you.
Good?
Email the City of Columbus media if you have follow-up questions, and we'll answer what we can legally. A lot of it's privileged, but I just didn't really think I'm leaving you high and dry, but
All
I
right.
can't access
Oh.
my work at home. Yep, but I'll be on it.
Oh, no, that's, are you going to send out a release or anything related to this, or?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on the side.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting this done, and then we're going home. All right, is he going to talk, or?
Yeah, we met
Oh.
earlier in the week.
Yes, she's become our new best friend.
I run into so many different people, yeah.
Totally.
Yes, I think I've talked to you more in the past 2 weeks than I've talked to you the whole time you've been here.
Yeah, I am in Robin's role.
Oh, okay.
Right. Thanks, team.
All right, thanks. So are you here this week, or are you going to the?